All right, Mike. Salesandcatering.com integrates with Logic's commercial strategy platform. Um, a lot of sales groups around the country ought to be very excited.
Very excited.
Let's just kick off like I like to do and just describe the problem that you set out to solve with this integration.
Yeah. Thanks, Jason. At the end of the day, right? Everything that we do as a company is customer focused and based on what our customers are telling us that will make their life easy. And the resounding message the last probably year or two is about a group pricing um, solution. And what they mean by that is the ability to be in a sales and catering system, right? And to be putting in the information about a potential piece of business, right? So a lead that they're working, that they're going to generate a proposal on, that ultimately they hope to get the contract signed and operationalized. But when they're in that initial lead phase, how can they take all that information about that group and have it spit out a rate? And this the reason that it's a little bit unique in our industry is it's being done, but it's being done on a very manual process, right? So a sales manager, for example, a sales manager will get all the relevant information about the group. They'll be going out there and having to talk to either their director of revenue, maybe it's their director of sales, doing business account reviews, and having to present that information, and saying, "Hey, as a sales manager, this is what I want to offer as the proposal." Right? Um, Problems with that, right? One, we live in 2024, right? There's no reason to have it be that manual of a process. Um, but number two is the efficiency of it. A sales manager now is spending a greater percentage of their time having to uh, not only put this calculation together, but waste their time having to go to business review meetings or waiting on a revenue director or waiting on their weekly business review. Meeting to get that approval. So I say all that because our customers started asking about, like, hey, can we, is there a way to put what the ideal group rate should be in the system? And we knew that like Logic had a revenue management tool out there, right? And we started to talk to them about it. And what we decided upon, and this is what I think is super cool about what we're doing, is the fact that that tool is integrated directly into the STS platform, right? So here's number one. We're alleviating that process of manually having to go to meetings or send an email, wait for your director of revenue. But number two, we're even alleviating the fact that you don't have to go into a separate system. You could stay as a salesperson in your sales and catering system, have all that information from that lead, your number of rooms, your date patterns, your food and beverage, all your ancillary revenue, putting that all directly into the system, into STS, or sales and catering solution, and having that logic program run within the system and kick out a rate that you can propose. So, sorry, a little bit longer of an answer, but just to tell you that it's, I guess to give a synopsis is, number one, customers are looking for it. And number two, we are super excited because we found a partner with Logic that allows for this direct integration into our system.
Yeah, so it's speed and pricing when you cut it all away, and you're able to stay in one system, and there you go.
Yeah, in what we know, and this is, and again, I think sometimes people talk about this as kind of a new concept, but I'm going back to my hotel days when when I was selling, and then eventually became a director of sales in hotels, and I will tell you, it's not so much of a new concept as people like to believe. Is, to your point, the speed to market. Right, the first hotel to respond, to get that engagement with that customer, that's been around a long time. I think what's changed is how can technology play a part in that, right? And so we go back to going, okay, we have all these great solutions. We have these dynamic proposal solutions. We have this holistic sales and catering system. We have these tools, but we were still, our customers were still caught up in this pricing that again, going back to, they would have to go get these approvals and wait on people, and it was being very done by email. So this allows tremendous speed to market. Get the lead in, get the proposed rate directly from the system through the integration with Logic, being able to get that, take a lead, turn it into a proposal in a matter of minutes, versus sometimes what it would take hours, days, you know weeks, depending on if people were around. So we just think it's a great win-win for all our customers.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense with the whole movement within the commercial teams of a unified commercial strategy and revenue, sales, and marketing working towards the same KPIs. And I've talked to a lot of these folks, and they're very excited about bringing these departments together. The challenge is the data is everywhere, and you're solving that for the sales folks.
Yeah, and I would say you nailed it. I would say that that's been the evolution, right? It's the revenue over here, sales over here, and now we're seeing that formation of, most folks are calling it, like to your point, commercial, where they're all on the same page. Now, how do we take that single source and have technology, right, be able to play a role in determining those outputs for the salespeople? I think sometimes too. I think what happens is people, especially in hotels, that people sometimes overlook the aspect of hospitality sales is still sales, right? And I feel like when I look at friends and folks in other vertical markets that are salespeople, right? They do a whole lot more selling than they do on tasks. In hospitality sales, I feel like it's almost the other way around. We do a lot of tasks and a lot of work, and we don't, there's not a lot of time for selling. And that shouldn't be in sales, right? The core time in your business should be selling. And again, having to kind of chase people around, do manual forms to get rate approvals, to be able to just send out a proposal should not be a task that's taking up 15-20% of your time. That
Yeah,
15-20% of your time needs to be selling. That's what drives the revenue.
yeah, yeah. As you were talking, I this lady's face popped in my head. She's from San Antonio, and she's sales. I can't remember her name, and I can't remember the hotel, but she's always on LinkedIn selling her hotel. And that's what a great point is that, she's not stuck behind a desk, stuck chasing down a revenue manager, to get her conference center sold or something, so that's great. To wrap up, I mean, just talk a little bit about what people can expect from the partnership between you guys and Logic.
Yeah, yeah. Again, when we started really putting our head around, this group pricing, um, how does it live in our system? Is it something that we could create? And at the end of the day, no, right? We are a sales and catering CRM system, a really good one, but we're not a revenue management system, right? The revenue management systems are complex, um, very hard. So one of the things that we did not want to deliver is, trying to go at it alone too, is a very, you know half built kind of elementary program. We wanted to make sure that the tool that we were going to use was robust, was accurate, was going to give the correct information and data. And so when we started to engage with Logic, we looked at their group pricing tool, and Jason, it was like instantaneous when we looked at it, and we said, how can we get that tool and copy it and put it into STS so that salesperson never has to leave our system. And that was the ignition switch to it, right? Um, what makes it amazing is that it's very simple to use. And again, broken record, speed to market. The simpler we can get that information in, um, to that group pricing tool where you never have to leave the system and have it to spit out the rate. All of a sudden, you're now in the proposal. You're going to contract quicker. You're getting signed contract quicker, and ultimately, salespeople are making their goals faster, and the hotels are doing better in revenue. What to expect though, from this partnership is one, we're going to shout it from the mountaintops, right? We think that this an actual integrated pricing tool into a sales and catering system is a game changer, right? Because again, there's other group pricing tools out there, i- i- but as a salesperson, I have to leave my sales and catering system, whether I'm using STS or not, and go over to another revenue management platform, log in, put in the data. The systems aren't talking to each other, right? So we're really going to drive that point home. I think when you look at the landscape of how we are rolling this out, is right. We have a plentiful existing customers that have asked for it, right? And we're going to deliver to those first and then eventually really scale it out to the market. And we think we just have an absolutely home run. Two great companies, two great technologies, really just a solid white label platform.
Very good. Well, it sounds very exciting, Mike, and thanks for joining me.
Man, thank you so much. I appreciate it, and have a great weekend.
You bet.